Hello and welcome back to the podcast. I am your host, Fallon Jordan, and I'm so excited you are here and you press play because that means that you are being ultra. And not only are you being ultra, but you are celebrated, seen, and heard here for being ultra. And knowing who you are, knowing what you want, and knowing really why you're here, right? What's your mission? What's the thing? And the thing about being a guide and a teacher and a healer is that I have been able to support a lot of practitioners and healers who really had that a big missing piece and ironically missing piece or extra pieces. I've worked with practitioners who had cancer and had like very large tumors, and they were physicians and they really had to reevaluate what it means to be a physician and the protocols that they actually really believe in by doing their own research. And realizing that if you decide to go the route with chemo, like you're much more likely to die, you're much more likely to suffer and have your organs shut down. And just like the amazing marriage therapists that I've been able to work with who secretly are really struggling in their marriage and they didn't know where else to turn. That is why I have this space. This is why I have my Ultra Concierge Brain Health Mentorship and all of the programs that I offer. And as always, sharing as much as I can here on the podcast so that everyone has access to the information that they need at the right time. And for a lot of practitioners and healers who are dealing with a issue, there is this element of confusion or guilt or shame that comes along with, I have all of the tools. Why did this thing happen? And so the first thing to recognize, and especially the energy of December, is really inviting us to be really, really bold, being really, really open, and being accepting of what's currently happening right now. And that, yes, this is the reality that you're currently experiencing, but knowing that it can be so much better and knowing that your only job is to focus on this moment and do your research, right? And, there's the scientific research, but more importantly, like doing the research of like, why did you get into the field that you got into? Who were you wanting to help? How were you wanting to help them? I think that this is something that is so beautiful for me to be on the receiving end of, especially with, practitioners who went to school for a very long time and got hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt to learn certain systems and protocols. And then when it gets time to, wow, I have my own crisis that I need to deal with. What if I could be bold and I could be open and I could be accepting and I could choose something new for myself? And, the most severe example for sure being, a physician with cancer, which I have worked with quite a few. And it's been so beautiful to see their process of what it means to have the right information as far as the science, but really listening to the intuition as far as who they work with. And I know when I first started doing this work, like 13, 14, 15 years ago, and I would, see a client's intake form and I would see what they do, like I would have this little ping if they were a physician or a naturopath or a chiropractor or a therapist. And it's because of what I get to do now, where it's like so many of these people are really secretly suffering and they don't know where to turn. And once they allow their intuition to lead them, they are led to the most beautiful people and the most beautiful resources and the most beautiful modalities that change everything for them. And, as much as I love sharing information and resources with everyone is ultimately responsible for what they truly believe and what they're open to. And, the more serious the illness, the more serious these practitioners get to be about what do I really need to heal? who do I really feel like is going to see me and get me and provide me with the, like I said at the beginning, like the missing pieces. And so I wanted to just make sure that you know that you are seen and heard. And it's a very high chance that whatever your background, whatever is your crisis, or even just something like if you're trying to go from good to great, or even from great to like totally crazy, fucking amazing and miraculous, there's a reason why that seed was planted. And when you go back to the original seed, whether you were one of those people who always knew you wanted to be a therapist, or you were always one of those people who want to be a doctor, or it just kind of like happened, right? Like you were just kind of led on this path. I think it's a beautiful process to really go back to the beginning of when you made this decision to enter this field that you were in. And, you know, field as far as like the energy frequency field, but like also like the field of medicine, or, you know, the specialty of therapy or healing that you do, because you'll see those little seeds. And especially in December, if you're listening to this now, like this is really where like we are blooming and blossoming. And it's funny because I know for most of us in the Northern Hemisphere, it's winter and things are not growing, but you can still go to the store and get flowers. And there are so many beautiful plants that I know many of you amazing plant moms like have these beautiful things inside your home and you get to watch them grow. But when it comes to things falling into place for you, this is really the time when it's going to start to like really, really happen. Like you're going to see everything that you've been planting come in for you in such a beautiful way. And anything that you are struggling with, or anything that you're wanting to up level or elevate in your life or business, you're getting all of that information now for a reason. And so I think that's such a beautiful thing, because, you know, the holidays sometimes can be the biggest excuse for not doing the thing, right? Not signing up for the program, not going to the retreat, you know. Yes, time, but this is the thing, time moves by fast all year, and it's just going to get faster and faster. Like 2026 and 2027 are going to be so freaking crazy cool and wild for those of us who are saying yes to this journey. Like we're saying yes to being better, and we're saying yes to, again, putting ourselves first and understanding that there's a reason that your soul and your heart led you where it did, and why you get to help the amazing people in the way that you do. But it's your time. It's your time to get what you really, really need. And you get to enter this new field of mastery, and then you get to share it with other people. And that's one of the things that I love seeing too. Again, like no pressure, but these are the people that tend to find me. You know, the therapist that was like so scared that she was a coach, or to transition from therapy to coaching because they worked so hard on their licensure, or the doctor who, you know, was writing prescriptions all day and then realized all of these things, like they completely woke up to the healthcare system and now they are only using the most safe, holistic, natural strategies, to the point where they barely recommend supplements anymore. Like they're really just doing herbs and healing foods. So it's such a beautiful thing that I get to walk people through and witness. And I'm just so grateful for the work that I get to do, because when I think about me taking really, really good care of somebody, knowing that they already have a large caseload and they're just going to get more and more people, because people are going to become obsessed with them once they're in this new vibration and they have these new tools. It makes me so happy, because by helping one person, I could be helping thousands or millions. And I think that that's the differentiation that a lot of you here are possibly thinking about making and doing what I do, right? Like helping healers heal, like teaching practitioners new skills, and putting your ego aside because you didn't go to school for 16 years and get all of the degrees and everything. Like some of the people who are finding you, they're finding you for a reason, and they trust you for a reason. And when I was going from one-on-one client support and transitioning into practitioner training when I was employed by Amen Clinics, I had a sit down with the CEO at the time, and we both kind of looked at each other because, she was very gifted seer, and she kind of knew this was part of my plan, even though there was just so much false programming that I had where I was kind of like, this is really what you want me to do? Like, you want me to train people to have more credentials than I do? And she was like, yes. And she's like, it was Dr. Amen's idea. It was a neuropsychiatrist's idea to do this and for you to transition. And if you can feel the energy right now, it's still so tender, because this is why so much of us hide our light and our gifts, or, a lot of people hide behind their credentials because they feel like those credentials mean a certain thing about them and the certain things that they're supposed to do and offer their clients, when there's this invitation, right, to be ultra, to be so incredibly powerful, and just knowing that things intuitively that you can't explain. You know that you can help this person with this problem, even though they've seen 30 people who say there's nothing else that we can do for you. And we are transitioning into this beautiful new earth template where people tune into the frequency. And one of my favorite things that I've heard from a mentor once was, and this is when I just started kind of getting comfortable tweaking my website, making my own landing pages, my own sales pages. If you don't know what that means, it's totally okay. But basically, like, when you click on something and you want to learn more about something, you go to a page and it tells you about the product, and then you click on something and then you go to another page and it tells you some more information. So I was just getting comfortable doing that stuff on my own, which I was already super proud of myself for. But she said, there gets to a point in your business and in your frequency where it literally doesn't matter what that landing page says. It literally doesn't matter what your sales page says. They feel the frequency. And for me, that's been just the $1 million advice that I still am constantly thinking about, because, we here, right, in this community, we understand the power of sound healing. We understand the power of, PEMF and red light therapy and hyperbaric oxygen therapy and infrared saunas. We understand the science, and we understand that when you peel back the layers, it's really the simple stuff. And healing people with energy by just showing up is the simplest way to get people to heal. And I work with a lot of you who are just so darling and wonderful and amazing. I love that I attract people that have very different gifts than me, because we need all of the people with all of their gifts turned on. And so, when you are stepping into that and you're like, does this make sense? Does this feel right? Did I really feel like that thing that I saw last night could have been real? It's yes, it was, because your intuition is right. And you get to be right. There's a reason why Source created you and is leading you on this path, and why certain gifts are turning on at certain times, even though they've been inside you this whole time. There's nothing outside of you. It's all inside. The human body is the most divine technology in the entire world that AI will never be able to touch. And at the same time, on the other side of that coin, right? That's why trauma gets stored inside the body. That's why things like tapping and havening and things that really integrate your body and your skin, your largest organ, are so incredibly helpful and seem so simple, but it's because we don't understand how powerful our body is. And one of my favorite things that I learned maybe a few months ago was just our blood vessels alone, our blood vessels, our veins, all of that. It's about 60,000 miles long in one human body. That's a very long distance. That is the distance of going around planet Earth twice. So the next time you are like looking yourself in the mirror and getting upset with your body, or you're feeling a little achy, or you get like a cold or a flu or whatever, remember that. I could literally wrap the earth twice with the beautiful little veins that are running through just my body. You are like the new human is what I love a lot of people talking about. And so when it comes to healing the healer, helping the practitioner have a new modality, we get to be a part of this new paradigm because we're really just coming back to the simplicity of what it means to be a human and how beautiful and incredible our body is. And I mean, I still geek out on the digestive system and like what our kidney and our liver and our pancreas do for us. Like it's so freaking cool. And then you realize that we have this brain, which no one has a brain like you. You are a 1 in a trillion miracle with a 1 in a trillion specific type of brain. But you also have trillions of connections and cells, and you can build new cells and you can build new neural pathways, and you can turn your brain power all the way up. You know, if you haven't seen the movie Lucy, it's a really good one. That really just helps us like understand, like, yeah, we're told that we only use 10% of our brains. And, you know, there's some people that like, that's actually the truth, but that doesn't have to be the case. And so if you are a healer or a practitioner and you are sick, this is your invitation to really expand and to really be open and to be ultra. And, you know, what new thing can I learn? What new thing can I learn for me so I can heal fully and completely? And then I can help more people with that. And I think that that's what makes some of us here different is we haven't had like the major health crisis that some of our other mentors have had. But maybe your relationships are struggling. Maybe we're struggling with, you know, our romantic relationships or our friendships or our relationship with money, our relationship with, you know, the places that we are living and going and things like that. We all have our thing. And the invitation is like, what is your thing now? And when you look way, way back at what you really wanted to do, what you really wanted to be when you grow up, what was that thing and why? What was the feeling? What was the level of service that you wanted to provide? And, you know, like Tony Robbins is a great example. He charges a lot for his programs. And, you know, you can hear him ask someone one question. If you lived your life fully for you unapologetically, what would you do? And, you know, people who are lawyers are like, I would be a therapist. Or an attorney says that I would fix old cars. And when we're talking about being ultra and unapologetically you, authentically you, so that you could become super, super magnetic, that's really where you're going to shine. And also just want to throw this out there while we're bringing this to a close that I am obsessed with German new medicine. If you've never heard of it, it's like the funnest rabbit hole of your life. And I like it because it does have this like very deep, nerdy brain science to it. But basically in German new medicine, the invitation is that when you have a physical ailment or symptom, it's your body actually in the healing phase of a past problem. So they call it a biological conflict. We can call it a emotional trauma. We can call it a past stressor, whatever it happens to be. But when you actually honor the illness, the symptom, understand that you're resolving a past issue and that you're going to literally come out on the other side like the most upgraded, elevated, ascended version of yourself, it really changes things. And I love the way that Quinta Green talks about this because, you know, we get sick, and a lot of us were just immediately brought to the doctor, immediately brought to the urgent care. And instead of being like, okay, like, is there a deeper reason? Is this something that honey and onions and garlic and black seed oil and chlorophyll could heal? What about that? What if it got to be that simple? So definitely huge in Germany medicine, and the website's very, very crazy. It's like an encyclopedia, literally. So what I typically do is, so when I first moved into my new home and my new town, and I'm like literally recalibrating in like the craziest way, I got a sty on my eye. That was another reason I didn't podcast for a little bit, because, you know, I don't like to be vain, but like it looked uncomfortable, and I was like, I don't want other people to feel my pain, because like it really hurt. But I Googled Germany medicine, sty on eye, and I got to be like, oh my gosh, this is amazing what it means for me. Like, I am in the healing process of some time in the past where I didn't feel seen. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Is there anything natural that I can do to, you know, help this process throughout the healing process without running to necessarily somebody other than myself and source for a resolution? Like, I am the resolution. The core wounding, not being seen, was the core wounding of the eye sty. I get to celebrate that. And the best part is you don't have to know when it was. You don't have to know what the event was, because your body knows, and your body is literally already healing it for you. It's literally doing everything for you. Just like your heart's already doing everything for you. Your digestive system is doing everything for you. You don't have to do anything except be kind and be loving and be appreciative to your body and allow the healing process to take place. So I love it. I think it's super fun. Again, just an invitation if that is a ping for you. And I love you. And if you need support, I am here. I love you. I would love to serve you. And just know that you are seen. You're allowed to be super ultra. And there's so many more people waiting for you and your gifts. And the people you're currently serving are just going to get super amazing, miraculous results so much faster than they used to, because you chose to stay open and you chose to do the research. So I will leave you with that, and I will see you soon.